Good morning, my Millennial Morticians. Happy Wednesday morning. I'm so excited to be with you all. I have so much to share, so much exciting news. I hope you guys are ready. NFDA, we are counting down for you. I am so excited. I cannot wait to try that food in New Orleans, and I hope to see you guys there. I will be there, and I can't wait to meet some of you guys, answer questions, and just talk to you guys as I do and learn about your experience at your funeral home. I would love to meet you guys or your staff and just interact. I love talking, so don't worry. You can't ask me too many questions. The title is of today's episode is I Understand. I Understand. And I got this title because I was just thinking about life, thinking about the funeral business, the industry, and there's so many things, I'm going to be honest with you guys, that we don't fully understand or know yet. Perfect example of this is with the hydrolysis, cremation. I don't know if I'm saying it right. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Cremation process where it's using that water and it's breaking down the bodies, and the big concern is well, what harm is that doing to the water, and can the water treatment facility plants successfully make that water reusable again? So what effects is it having on the environment? And so to every story, there's two sides. And you have to be willing as a professional in this industry, in this business, to hear people out from all sides and not just have a one-minded side of you. Know the positive and negative effects of everything you're doing in your funeral home. And the big thing right now is the big push is we're going to be more environmentally friendly within our facilities, within our funeral homes. Start recycling, start doing things like that. Use better and more efficient fluids. Use better caskets that have better quality and can be environmentally friendly. And I don't feel like as an industry as a whole, we need to push environmentally friendly caskets more in funeral homes because there's a demand out there for them, and you just have to know if your market is ready for it yet. And if it is, you have to be able and equipped to meet demand. Now, there's some things I want you to understand when I say this. You cannot claim to be a person that has all control over every situation in your funeral home without first understanding that funeral home business is team business. And there's so many times where you go on arrangement conferences with people and you hear people talk, you hear families interact with funeral directors, and you're just having regular conversations, and there's a point in which we don't understand. Um, and I say that because we'll listen, we're writing stuff down, we're picking up that information that we need to make simple arrangements, the casket when we're having the service. That stuff figures itself out for the most part. Because sometimes you do have some families where things can be a little difficult or a little complicated, and it just makes things a little bit harder. But I want you guys to understand what people are actually feeling when they're sitting in that seat, the decisions they actually have to make as a customer in your business, and the decisions you have to make as a manager of the business. And so that understanding, that common mutuality that me and wherever cascade manufacturer, Volt manufacturer, other provider that I'm using, we have the same understanding of what our ultimate goal is to serve the people and to serve families. And it's so important for you guys to go out there in the world, do your own research. There's nothing better than that. There's so much technology out there. There's so many things on the internet you can read about. And what I've noticed is we educate ourselves on companies, but we don't educate ourselves on products. We don't know where did this product start? How did it even come? How did the idea come? What's the base behind it? What's the momentum behind it? What can it really do? Do I know its full potential? I feel like there's so many things in the funeral home that we use, so many different products that we use, and we're not using those things to their best potential and to their greatest impact. And I don't want our generation of morticians and funeral directors to be a generation that's wasting things, wasting time, wasting extra embalming fluid. I'm just giving examples, wasting money when that can all be avoided. Because at the end of the day, as me and this is a business. And there's nothing wrong with saying that. I feel like there's been a lot of just kind of agitation with with the funeral business and people calling it a business. And no, that's what it is. We're a business, we're a ministry, we're a church, we're a repast facility. We are so much more than just that. And so you have to equip yourself in the mindset of owning other businesses and not really just being so keen in on just the funeral home, even though that can create great revenue if you understand what your customer wants, what people need, how they need it, when they need it by, meeting the demand. And this is a business where I was telling people about a day or two ago that you cannot waste time in this. This is not a business where you can waste time, where you have a lot of free time. You give up a lot of personal time, a lot of personal moments. So you understanding what people are going through, what it feels like to sit in that chair. And I would encourage some of you even do a role play in your funeral home with a member of your staff, and sit them down and act like they're a family in there, making arrangements, and just see how they feel in the moment. Do they feel good enough to the point where they would sit there themselves and send their actual family members to their funeral home? Or was it kind of like there's some things we need to work on? And a part of that understanding is understanding that not everything you do, not every policy you have in place, none of that stuff is perfect. And sometimes it's good to get outside help, outside opinion, phone a friend, call somebody else who's been in the industry and who's devoted to curating engagement, not just from the community, but inside the funeral home, so you guys can have a more optimal functioning business. And a lot of times we get so caught up in the day-to-day work that we're doing that we forget, did we optimize our time today? I feel like there's so many days where funeral homes, we don't optimize our time. We just because we have so much going on, we're just really tired. We're exhausted. There's a lot on our mind. There's a lot on our heart, and and we're we're a ministry. We're a ministry. We're a network of people working together for a common good. And as you can see, as the world is starting to see, that funeral home management, funeral home business is so much more than just a funeral home. COVID showed us that it's the church, it's the cemetery, it's all these important networks of people coming together for a common purpose to serve the people. And if just one of those branches is failing to function in your community the right and accurate way, it can affect the rest of the business, the rest of the area, and how they view funeral services. So I feel like I'm encouraging myself here to say, iron sharpens iron, and I understand you. I understand how you guys feel about um, maybe cemeteries not being ready for you when you get there. I understand crematory operators telling us that this is harmful for the environment. I understand, but I also want you guys to understand that things are going to change. Things are going to get better. People are building on what's already been laid out there. There's people already developing new, cool, innovative ways to make things better in our industry, to grow, to bring increase, to bring life back into what we do. We can't stay at a stalemate for too long in this business because people are falling behind. Funeral homes are falling behind every single day. And the fact that your funeral home is open isn't always a guarantee. You can't always bank on that in this new era, in these new times, because only the best will be there. I'm telling you guys. So you have to understand all aspects of this business. Be willing to learn anything and everything that you can. Be willing to listen to people. Be willing to listen to families. Ask for opinions. Um, Hire people if you need to. If you don't really have a good understanding on that, like you need marketing help or you just need help with the business analysis. Just let me see what I have. In your inventory. I don't think we do very good. Uh, Maybe you don't do very good inventory management at your funeral home. Make sure you're iron sharp on that, guys. So many funeral homes have so much stuff that they do not need, and it's just causing them more of a headache to have it there, and they're not making any profit off of it. So it's time to understand and to really start to grasp things and say, okay, I got this. I understand why we're doing this. There's so many aspects in the funeral business that I feel like people just don't understand why we do it, even to this day. And for some schools, it's hard for people. It's hard for them to teach that. You have to care for you to understand. Is what I'm trying to say. And so this week, increase the care you're giving people and increase your understanding of why you're doing what you're doing. And if you don't know why you're doing what you're doing, then you either have to question yourself for why you're in this business, or question yourself on how can I make myself bigger and stronger and wiser in this field that I love so much, because it's always changing. So there's always room to understand more, to know more, to grow more. And there's so many facets to this. It's unlike anything else. It's a whole different leadership style that's starting to birth out of these new funeral homes, and you're going to see some things that are going to just amaze you, and people are really going to have healing and peace out of this industry. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me on this incredible episode of the Millennial Mortician podcast. I hope you guys have a blessed week. Increase your understanding this week, guys. Open your mind up, open your heart up, hear people out all the way through, and ask yourself, well, why am I doing this? Figure out the details of it. Figure out your network. We look at everyone in your network and see, do they match my vision of what I'm trying to do? Well, you guys, that's all. I'm your Millennial Mortician, Jaden Folks, and remember, this is the podcast